You told me you were drowning never mentions the word addiction in certain company. Yes, she'll tell you she's an orphan after you meet her family. A lock of hair in her pocket. She wears a cross around her neck. Yes, the hair is from a little boy, and the cross is someone she has not met, but not yet. Says she talks to angels. Wait for me, then I'll come for you. Although I've traveled far, I always hold a place for you in my heart. Think of me, if you miss me once in a while, then I'll return to you. I'll return and fill that space in your heart. Your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting.
Every morning and every evening, every day I think of you, the way you love me through and through. And when I'm with you, it feels like heaven. You're an angel holding me, your sweet, sweet loving, it sets me free. And in my wildest imagination, I could never imagine you loving me as much as I do you.
Used to spend my nights out in the barroom. Liquor was the only love I'd known. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom and brought me back, being too far gone. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time. I've looked for love in all the same old places. Found the bottom of the bottle's always dry.
We have found a way here against our will. In this room so cold and bare, where no face is unknown, and no earth lies unroamed, and no heart is untouched by despair.
Now we have come from miles around, whether by air or by ground, whether rich or whether poor. And the sayers, they all say, by the dimming of the day, there'll be at least about 1 million more.
In the end, all I can say, love will lead the way, and this is where love comes in. Send her right away. I'm telling you, something's gone wrong.
I'm like a prisoner in my own home.
Help is on the way, they say,
But no one can even say how long,
what I do know for sure is I don't know just how this part of the story will end. Oh no,
In the end, all I can say is love will lead the way.
and this is where love comes in.
This is where love comes in. After all is said and done, only one way ain't but to one.
And this is where love comes in.
Comes in.
Comes in.
Is where the love.
Love's the only way we can
Is where the love. Is where the love. Say yes. Is where the love. Send her right away.
Something's gone wrong.
Something's gone wrong.
I'm like a prisoner here in my
Like a
own
prisoner.
It's on the way, they say, but even they can't say I'm wrong. What I do know for sure
I don't know.
Just stop this part of the story will end. Oh no.
In the end, all I can say is love will lead the way. And this is where love comes in.
Oh, after all is said and done, only one way ain't but the one. And this is where love comes in. Oh, love comes in.
First, let me thank you all for coming. That is, every single picture that you saw there is a picture of somebody who is living with trauma. And also a person who identifies with music as a language that I speak. That was the language that I used to express myself, that I think of as my first language, and as a way that I understand the world. All right, I don't have a program. I just realized that. I think we're just doing the prayer. Thank you, thank you. If y'all would pray with me, I stole one from Reverend Micah at Judson Memorial, which is where I have been attending. And Reverend Micah does these beautiful tiny prayers. And I think of myself as someone who is here to change the world. And so I chose this one for me and for all of you. Dear Creator of everything, may you remember that you are doing just that, even when you can't immediately see the shifts. May you connect with others who are open to learning from you and who can also teach you their own ways of sustaining themselves through what feel like agonizingly slow movements. And may you find at least one thing today that ignites your faith in the fact that we are entering a time of both foundation rebuilding and foundation shaking, a disorienting and reorienting moment in which we will all need to keep reminding one another of the undeniably transformative parts we each are playing every single day. Amen. I'm going to hand this back to you. I think I'm good because I think I know what comes next. All right, I'm going to switch presentations, so bear with me just a quick moment. I have to remember to use my glasses. Okay, so what are we here for today? I just realized all my notes are on the version that I can't see. Isn't that funny? All right, well, for all of you who don't know me, I am Stefani Crouse. I recently completed my Master of Arts in Religion with in a concentration, interdisciplinary concentration with a focus on trauma theology. And I'm going to start my story today with me as a young person. My trauma started very early in my life. I was not born into a stable household. I was born into a household with two mentally ill, highly traumatized adults who were trying to navigate the world without adequate support for themselves. And I became someone who's trying to navigate the world without adequate support for myself. This is a legacy of trauma. In this picture, I think I am probably, I don't know, 6, maybe 7, maybe a little older. I could be. I'm never good at guessing age. I don't know that it matters. I think what's important to note is that when trauma occurs, when we're this young or younger, we call it something different. Again, the glasses. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how trauma is different. We just say trauma, right? Everybody says PTSD. We all talk about trauma as if it's one gigantic category, and it is not. As trauma theory has developed over time, we have developed an understanding of the way that trauma is processed in the body based on when that trauma occurs, and a number of other factors, including what existed in their life prior to, what exists in their life afterward, how quickly they received the care, how stable their environment was that they're returning to, what kind of community they're re-entering. So there's a number of factors that have to do with how a person responds to trauma. But what is trauma, right? So what we have here are 3 definitions that I used in my thesis. Acute trauma is what we think of as trauma. It's what most of the trauma theology has been written about. And it comes from a psychological understanding of trauma that's based in a DSM definition. Acute trauma is the acute trauma response or acute stress reaction is characterized by a short-lived sympathetic response to a real or perceived threat that typically results in a fight or flight response. So this is things like natural disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes. It's also things like car accident, medical trauma, having a medical event and finding yourself unable to navigate that difference. It's also things like a single incidence of rape. And it's very important that you understand that, because there is nothing about this conversation that minimizes those experiences or says that they are not trauma, or that they are not horrific, or that they do not require specialized care to recover from. It's very important that we hold in tension that this is not a trauma comparison. It's not about deciding whose is more valid. It's about helping us understand the difference in the way that it presents when we meet it in the world. So somebody who is dealing with acute trauma has experienced a traumatic event that has taken them out of the experience of their life, and it is revisiting them after the event has ended. It's being triggered by other associated experiences or sounds or sensory experiences of the world, and people are re-experiencing that trauma. We call that PTSD. Developmental trauma is different. This occurs between 0 and 6, usually. And it occurs through sensitive periods of infant and child development, disrupts interpersonal attachments, compromises an individual's safety and security operations, alters foundational capacities for cognitive, behavioral, and emotional control, and often contributes to the development of complex PTSD in adulthood. This can be anything that interrupts that development. I think it's really important to note that. This does not have to be perpetrated by a caretaker. It does not, it can be anything. It can be what's happening right now in the world globally that we don't see, but it's happening to kids between 0 and 6. And the reason it can develop into complex post-traumatic stress disorder is because if that child doesn't receive adequate training or support, then that child will develop, or has the potential to develop, a lifelong association with this traumatic experience. The final definition is complex. Deformations of identity that develop in response to intentional interpersonal acts that are inescapable and cause injury that is potentially irreparable, characterized by repeated or chronic experiences in which the survivor actually is or perceives themselves to be trapped and unable to flee, self-protective reactions of tonic immobility to freeze and collapse, dissociation and alienation disrupt the survivor's sense of an integrated self and capacity for intimacy with others. I want you to think about how many words are in that definition compared to the definition of acute trauma. Oh, there we go. I'm 18 years old. Actually, in this picture, I was 17 because I graduated early. Within a year, my parents will ask me to leave my house, I guess. Research clearly demonstrates that the relationship between the child and primary caregivers during infancy ascribes a lifelong pattern of attachment projected onto others that overwhelmingly determines an individual's capacity for managing and persisting through emotionally distressing events. There are 4 distinct patterns of attachment, 1 secure and 3 insecure styles that demonstrate the following effects. I know. This part's important. The reason is because if you fit into one of these insecure attachment types, the chances of you developing complex post-traumatic stress disorder increase exponentially. Because it means that we don't have the basic building blocks of trust and connection to be able to withstand the challenges that come up during events of trauma and the recovery that occurs after. I'm gonna try and go through this quickly. I knew this would happen. I'm actually gonna skip through to, here we go. This little graphic describes the difference between post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, and developmental trauma, or CPTSD. The reason that this is important to note is that in addition to all of the symptoms that affect a person with post-traumatic stress disorder, a person with complex post-traumatic stress disorder has a number of additional factors that affect them. These are all related to emotional dysregulation, the ability to connect and maintain relationships with others, and the ability to stay present in the moment during experiences of the world. We call that dissociation. So those 3 factors are things that are very big differences for a person who is experiencing complex post-traumatic stress disorder versus post-traumatic stress disorder. If you take nothing from today but this, let it be this. When someone is navigating the world with post-traumatic stress disorder, remember they were taken out of the experience of safety, security, and the life that they knew, and they are trying to negotiate how to get back. For individuals with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, the before does not exist. Not only does it not exist, it is unimaginable. It is important to remember that when we are engaging with people who carry this kind of attachment disorder, this kind of reaction or response to the world that says they don't have the skills that they need in order to feel trust, in order to initiate action, in order to function autonomously in the world. That, my friends, is where the church comes in. Salvation is impossible in isolation. Creative transformation is salvation, and it can only happen within a communal context. To enact the power of creative transformation, the survivor seeking healing must connect with or establish a healing or recovery community in which they can safely process and contextualize their experience. If that isn't the role for the church, I don't know what is. If that isn't the role for your faith community, if that isn't the place where you're sharing your experience of how you have navigated what you have been through with others who are going through, then I don't know what church is for. While church is not expected to diagnose psychological conditions or provide treatment, negotiating the spiritual needs of trauma survivors is best accomplished when those serving the community understand the connection between faith and psychological development. So while we're talking about that development of the human, you have to remember that spiritual development is happening at the same time. And what we know is that that primary relationship, that attachment that we talked about, how you respond to your parents, often transfers to how you view God, how you view the universe, how you view supernatural things. So if you're raised in an environment where your parents aren't safe, those who are there to protect you, those who are there to care for you are not safe, that can also translate to your understanding of God. You must possess the basic knowledge and essential tools necessary to co-create support for those who live with complex trauma. So what I'm saying to you is, as members of the faith community, as people who are going to go out there and be working with individuals who you are going to see them. These are our homeless. These are our formerly incarcerated. These are our dealing with life by dissociating through the use of drugs and alcohol, through the use of sexualized behavior, through the use of performative, drama. All of these things are ways that people are navigating the world because of these issues of attachment. Your role is to understand that you are there to hold space for these people. That as much as they make mistakes, as many times as they screw up, as often as they do what you ask them not to, you do not abandon them. That is not to say that you don't create rules and guardrails and have safety in place and be working with others. All of that needs to happen. But it is most important that we remember that as the church, when it comes to complex trauma, these folks have no one else. And if we can't be family for them, how do we ever expect them to begin to make change in their life? We can stop looking at them and saying, when are you going to stop doing drugs? When are you going to get a job? When are you going to show up for this event that I've planned? When are you going to come in so I can pray with you? It is not about holding people accountable for a life they have never had access to. It is about making space for voices that have been abused and abandoned over and over and over again. That's what happened to Jesus. And he built this community because he knew we were going to need it. This is far from what I wanted to do with this presentation, but as Dean Montez said, we don't have to expect perfection. This is my church, Church of the Good Shepherd back in Ann Arbor. This is the church that helped me heal. This is my family. So Judson, I love you. You are a wonderful place, and I will keep going. But this is my family. And they will always be my family. It doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter how far I wander. It doesn't matter what separates me from them. And I never had that until I found Cogs. We need to be family. I have been here for over a year, and I still go to church and still see these folks, and they still ask me how I'm doing. And they are still caring for my child who lives in their community and does not attend church, but is still family. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need to be. So on that note, I am gonna do a little song, because we gotta do the song, that I wrote as part of my learning reflection when I took Trauma and Grace with our lovely President Jones. And it's gonna sound so much better. For those of you who took the class, and I don't know if we have anybody here who did, and heard the song, Malcolm can actually play, and I cannot. So we're gonna do this, all right? I know. There's a balance to carrying all the weight of all the years you're trying to escape, fighting shadows, drifting through your mind. There's no relief in the coping that you find. It's all too much to carry alone. That's how we lose so many beautiful and broken souls. Where is the beloved community God needs us to be? It's a cold world, staring into the face of bigotry over another's faith or race. It's a cancer I fear just won't let die. So we fuel the fire, we share ignorance and lies. And it's all too much to carry alone. That's how we lose so many beautiful and broken souls. Where is the beloved community God needs us to be? They're dropping bombs and putting your sons and daughters in the ground, and the world watches on. It's all too much to carry alone. That's how we lose so many beautiful and broken souls. Where is the beloved community God needs us to be? It's all too much to carry alone. That's how we lose so many beautiful and broken souls. Where is the beloved community God calls us to be? Thank you. Now, if we could have our beautiful choir join us. They're going to sing for you. I'm struggling, so I'm going to let them sing beautifully. Thank you. That piece was written by, I don't know who wrote the lyrics, but there was a lovely lady from my church who just passed away. Her name was Alice Rhodes. She was 95, and she wrote the accompaniment for that piece. That piece, we do the lyrics as a benediction every week at my church. And so it's pretty special to me. And Alice was part of my healing journey. So thank you for listening. And thank you for coming to chapel. You're all free to go.